I'm just imagining, like, being one of those ants on the line. Like, oh, did Skitter ask you to stay? Yeah, I have to stay here all day.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Snare 13.1. Maybe this is just the arc where Taylor takes up the drums.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us what happened in this one?
I would love to. Taylor enters Coil's underground base. Brian,
speaking of snares,
is there to greet her and hands her a copy of the rules.
The rules, but not the dating
Jack Slash.
book, right?
No.
Different
not
rules.
The dating book. I'll briefly go through
Taylor
them.
can't accept a date with Mannequin if he calls her the day of. Those are the rules.
Those are the rules. Yeah, so every member of the Slaughterhouse Nine will test in sequence, 3 days at a time. There's some rules about, you'll get a time extension if you succeed, a time penalty for failure. The 9 are supposed to test independently with no hands-on.
Every time you say they're supposed to test, I'm just like, oh yeah, to see if they have COVID. The 9 would spread COVID with impunity. They would not care.
Well, there's a rule, right? No pandemics, no epidemics.
Great point.
So anyway, the 9 aren't allowed to provide hands-on assistance to each other, but can help with intel and strategy, etc., etc. However, candidates can receive all the help that they want from Brockton Bay residents only. We are made aware via these rules that Legend and his teammates are in Brockton Bay, but no interference or else the city will be punished. And the agreed upon rules are in fact the slightly stricter one, which is the Slaughterhouse Nine are in it to kill all but 1, and Team Brockton Bay only has to save 2. However, in the event that the Slaughterhouse Nine win, or any of the candidates flee the city, then the city will be extra punished. And then they say Mannequin's going first. So, after reading the rules, Taylor joins the rest of the Unravelers and Coil at a big conference table. Everybody is there except for Noelle. Taylor notes that Oliver is in attendance.
Why would there be an L, though? She's not in one of Coil's people.
But it really is.
It's the Snare arc.
Everyone's in costume except for Oliver. Taylor sees Lisa and her new scar.
Yeah.
And everybody is happy to see her. Obviously not Bitch, but everybody else is like smiling at her, being like, oh my god, Skitter, everyone is gassing you up in our territories. You're the talk of the town. You kicked Mannequin's ass. And Taylor tries to be like, nah, it wasn't that great. But Lisa's like, no, like they docked Mannequin a day because they think that you defeated him. And Taylor kind of sees that Lisa's slurring a bit when she talks. She's drinking a lot of water. She's heard a bit about the potential long-term effects of what has happened to her, even though, of course, Lisa is putting on a brave face. Taylor joins the table, and they sort of start talking strategy, kind of like Lisa's gambit worked, but of course now the stakes are much higher for the city if they lose, which Taylor is in particular going on about. They know who the candidates are, except there is a hero unidentified other than Armsmaster, who is one of the candidates, and they don't really have any ideas. Apparently, Hookwolf is proposing, let's just do an all-out attack. Brian is kind of saying, I don't know, Slaughterhouse Nine are kind of prepared for that kind of thing. It's probably better if we focus on what we're good at. The Unravelers together, right, the Travelers are extraordinarily lethal. The Undersiders are better at kind of recon and escape. So Brian suggests remixing, splitting up into 2 teams with some Undersiders and some Travelers on each. Eventually the teams that are settled on are Gru, Imp, Bitch, Skitter, Genesis, and then Sundancer, Ballistic, Trickster, Regent, Tattletale, Noelle. Circus is also at this conference table, but Coil's kind of like, I'm going to keep her home protecting me and Noelle. She's not part of the fight out there. Speaking of Noelle, Taylor presses Trickster for some more information about what the deal is with Noelle, pointing out that, okay, Crawler couldn't get to her, but Siberian certainly can, and suggests, like, okay, so she's dangerous, she's not in control, and Trickster's like, look, if Siberian got to her, I think Noelle would be okay, but the rest of us wouldn't. And the Travelers don't seem happy when they're reflecting on that. Brian's like, okay, look, once we split up into our teams, Mannequin, Burnscar, Jack, Shatterbird, we should be able to deal with them. Obviously, Siberian, Crawler, we don't really have a play against them, but like with Aegis, right, distract, delay, escape, that's how you deal with a foe that you can't beat in a heads-on fight. Sundancer proposes, like, okay, maybe we should actually try to kill Jack. There's the whole end of the world thing, but Lisa's skeptical that Jack's going to be easy to kill and says that his testing is going to be the last round. We learn that Trainwreck is dead. The merchants have been eliminated. They talk about Shatterbird's power, sort of an understanding a little bit more about how it works, and that now that the big glass has been broken, it's kind of unlikely to have as much impact as it did the first time because of the way the glass resonating helps it. And also they might be able to like soundproof, a satellite phone or something like that to keep them from being busted. So Coil has more supplies on the way so that they can communicate better. Then Aisha speaks up. She's like, look, we should just spy on them. Me and Genesis, we're good enough. We can do it. Brian's like, no. You think your power is good enough, but you could end up getting captured, turned into a bone saw experiment. They start to bicker like siblings, and Taylor tries to smooth things over by saying, look, Dragon could see you with her sensors. Cherish has a visual sensing based perception ability. So like, I'm with Brian on this. Your power's not going to work. And Aisha is not happy. She starts to talk back to Brian in a major way, and Coil tells them to shut up, and Aisha says, all right, see you guys later. And then Brian says, hey, and stands up, and everybody looks at him like, why are you standing up, Brian? And we realize that Aisha has used her power, and now nobody remembers, that she had been here or what they were just talking about. And then Lisa says, okay, well, I actually have a request. I keep getting hurt. Let's get cameras on costumes, and I can stay out of the action. And even though Brian had kind of given her a hard time about that before, he says that's a great idea. And we cut to Taylor's half of the Unravelers team riding dogs through the streets back to Skitterland. Apparently nobody has tried to talk to Bitch at all about the situation with the Siberian, because she's a prickly one. Genesis joins them, appearing like a teenage girl, sort of materializing a teenage girl form. And she, as well as the others presumably, and as well as we, are incredibly impressed that a day, maybe 2 days after we last saw her, Skitterland has a population of almost 50 people working with Taylor. Sierra, Charlotte, the 3 ABB members, those 3 guys who looked alike are probably the O'Daly clan, who have brought in a lot of their other family, and their, other families there. And, Genesis is like, yeah, I've been like fixing buildings. Like, I didn't think I would get to where you got in 6 months. Sierra's already cleaning out a second building. Taylor directs them to the first building where there's space for the dogs. She's pretty firm with Bitch, like, hey, bring your dogs here so that there's not going to be an opportunity to argue. And she immediately gets to work setting up spider silk tripwires, because she's like, I need to know. I need something better than just swarm mass. So she sets up tripwires, is leaving, like ants and stuff on them to feel the vibrations. And she's like, this will give me an early warning when Mannequin or someone approaches. Oh, he's here. Within a minute, she realizes Mannequin is on a nearby rooftop. And once he realizes he has been made, he immediately retreats. And Taylor's like, okay, it's starting now. Don't know if he's trying to bait us into following him or he was coming on the attack. But like, she's like, Mannequin and I have, sized each other up. We're both going to be expecting traps. He's a tinker. He's going to be preparing something new. And like, she has now almost 50 people that she has to protect in addition to herself, and Mannequin is just one guy. So she's ending the chapter reflecting like, okay, so 48 hours against Mannequin, and then we have to do this 7 more times, 3 days at a time, without a break? There's no way. What condition are my territory going to be in? What condition am I going to be in? Right? Like, maybe this deal isn't as hopeful as I thought it might be when Tattletale first proposed it. And Gru tries to reassure her, but she's not that convinced.
Yeah. I mean, she's not wrong. I loved the level setting of the end of that chapter because I do feel like we've had a lot of victories lately. Taylor beat Mannequin. Amazing. And in this chapter, she sets up tripwires that like successfully at least turn him away for the moment. And our good guys got what they wanted in terms of like the terms of the deal and all of that. And in fact, slightly better than they wanted, I think. And so it is really helpful to kind of recalibrate like, okay, but remember how hard this is going to be. Remember this is actually going to be like brutally, viciously impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that felt like kind of where the function at the end of that chapter was serving. Like you gotta remember the tension. Yes. Remind the reader why they should be worried about this.
Yes. Though the thought that I had at the end was like, well, it kind of sounds like this is going to put your power on overdrive. So, like, it's sort of a yet another silver lining under there if she feels trapped.
So true.
But yeah, like running for 6 miles in half an hour and then having to collapse. Like, you can't do that for a week straight.
No, definitely not. You can't. The fight that she had with Mannequin.
I mean, and it's like 3 weeks straight. It's like a crazy.
Right. 3 days variable because they'll gain days for successes.
I know. Okay, so we've been reminded of the tension. How are you feeling coming into Arc 13? How did you enjoy this chapter?
I mean, this chapter was a great setup. There are a lot of juicy things I want to talk about. I feel like the big question for me is like how is this going to go? Like, I could imagine if this book were about this competition, like the board has been set up and we'd probably take it down to those final 2 people. And like, will we be able to keep one of them alive would be the big question. But Worm has a tendency to like throw the chessboard across the room. I mean, in a big way with Leviathan. Mm-hmm. But like, there are a lot of dominoes set up all the time, and not all of them fall because like, there's just not enough story space. Like, there's so many different domino setups. They can't all fall. Like, that wouldn't make sense story-wise. So I can also see this going in a direction of like, this seems like the scenario we're heading into where it's like, how do we keep Jack from escaping alive? How do we keep one of these last 2 people alive? But it could be that, like, this takes a left turn and it doesn't go as predictably as that, especially because, like, the idea of getting through these, like, 23 plus days, I guess, as it currently stands, seems exhausting. Like, that seems like a lot of narrative to spend on this.
Not just exhausting for Taylor and the Unravelers.
Exhausting for a while, though. And you wouldn't be able to tell them all in detail, but all of the 9 are so different and all of their tests will be so challenging that, like, it definitely is a narrative problem of, like, how do you gloss over any of them without making it seem like, wait, but how did they do that thing? Like, I mean, you certainly can skip stuff, but, like, it definitely is a challenge to figure out, like, how do you do that and still make it seem like we witnessed the whole thing and it's satisfying, all that.
And, like, I always think of the movie Battle Royale as, like, the classic, like, Death Games horror movie.
I have not seen that.
But it has a cast of, like, a bunch of school children who each get randomly assigned a weapon, and then, like, the last one standing wins. And it does a good job in, like, movie runtime length of, like, oh, you get to know some of the characters. there are enough of them that you can kill off a bunch of them in gruesome ways. And then you follow a few narrative threads in Act 2. And of course, like, those are all ending in tragedy because it's a horror movie, right? You're expecting, right, like, most of the people are getting killed off. But when you get down to the final few threads, then you have, like, now, okay, here's half a dozen characters I'm really invested in.
Right.
Compared to, like, oh yeah, I did like a bunch of those other characters, but they were so thin. You're able to watch it in the sense of, like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, watching them all get kind of taken apart. And we are deeply invested in so many of these characters even on both sides. Like the Slaughterhouse Nine, I think you're kind of like sick of them, but like at least a few of them, I'm like actually invested in what happens to them, at this point in the story.
Yeah, and it's certainly, they all have enough like narrative punch that I will be very interested in. If nothing else, seeing them
taken down in a satisfying way.
Oh my gosh, that would be so good.
Right? But it's like, you can't, at this point, you couldn't just flip to the next page. It would be so wrong to flip to the next page and be like, well,
3 tests later.
And Colin and Noelle died, right? You could, right? You could, but like, at least when Kaiser got bit in half, you had a few dramatic paragraphs of like, well, and Leviathan showed up and his legs fell out, right? Like,
Well, that is kind of the thing. Like, the number of members of the Nine and the number of testers and the number of contestants, whatever they're called, is small enough that you can't easily gloss. Like, if it were like 20 people nominated, you could definitely gloss some of them, and they probably wouldn't all be as narrative
and
significant.
And that's the effect of the merchants getting killed off in that last interlude, right? A couple chapters ago, right? It's like, just sure, fine. Oh,
right,
Mush, we saw him once. Right. Great, now he's dead. Great, like, whatever.
And if there were fewer of them, you could tell it all in detail and not take up an unwieldy amount of narrative space. But with this number of people, I just can't imagine it going the full length. Like, I can't imagine how I would write that. Like, it seems really daunting. So, not saying it wouldn't happen. If anyone can pull it off, it would be Wild Bow. But, like, I don't really expect that just for the narrative.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to see. I mean, I will be curious to see how your intuition there changes or develops as we get into this arc.
And it is. I mean, I've said it before. One of the weird things about reading this book is that the intuition I have about how things are usually shaped in a story just doesn't apply because I've never read a story of this length.
Yeah. This is a fun kind of prediction. How many arcs? We have had an arc and a half of, like, Slaughterhouse 9 so far, right? Because we got the second half of 11. They were teased in 9, arc 9 even, right? But, like, we've had an arc and a half. The second half of arc 11 was interludes, and then arc 12, right, is when people are discovering that, they're around. Now we're in arc 13. So 30 arcs in Worm, right? What's your intuition about, like, the size of story remaining? It's not wrapping
up this arc.
Yeah.
There's just too much, I think. Yeah. It could wrap up in the next arc. I think that probably requires not everyone to do the full test. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But, I mean, that actually is, like, I feel like the full length of the testing is, like, too long for one arc. And kind of a weird thing to split over multiple arcs. Though, I mean, he could definitely do it. Mm-hmm. I would expect the ending of an arc to mark some kind of pivot.
Yeah.
Which it could, even while the testing is happening, definitely. But yeah, I feel like this arc and the next arc, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were another arc beyond that. Yeah. That's kind of my guess.
But you're not expecting, like, we're going to get through to arc 20 on intensive, grueling death games.
I don't expect that, no. It feels a little bit tangential to the main story, which is kind of about, like, Taylor's struggle with villainy and heroism and Coil and the future of Brockton Bay. And, like, this is relevant to the future of Brockton Bay. It's relevant to all that stuff. But, like, it feels like a one splashy episode of all of that, not, like, a third of the meat of the story. Is my guess.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
all right.
But we'll see.
I feel like we should reel it back into actually the
we should
chapter.
Put a pin in that. Yeah. So let's talk about the chapter. I mean, we can start at the ending.
Sure.
Skitterland.
50.
I love what she's done. I also love in this chapter how completely uncomfortable she is with success. Like, here's someone who's like, my number one goal in life is to impress Coil. Shows up to a meeting with Coil. People are like, you were so impressive. And she's like, no, not really. no, it was nothing. I mean, he wasn't that tough. Yeah. And I completely understand it psychologically. Like, praise like that is very hard to accept graciously.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real skill, honestly, that most people don't have.
Yeah.
And it also was fun, it's a little tangential, but comparing her with Lisa, who is someone who can't let people see her be weak.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Taylor, who's just, like, incredibly uncomfortable with people praising her for being strong. And Lisa, who's like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm totally fine. I don't care about my scar.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah.
Like, it is, like, different sorts of discomfort with being seen.
Right.
Is what it feels like.
I felt like Lisa threw Taylor a bone by saying, oh, the Nine think. Right. She's not saying... Objective
criteria here.
Yeah, she's not saying, oh, I think you did such a good job, Taylor. She's saying, well, the Nine punished Mannequin, so they think he lost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, which is like, I think the kind of thing that Taylor would listen to.
Right. And it's not a direct compliment where she has to figure out how to accept it or deny it. Like, just accepting compliments is so hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially for an awkward 15-year-old.
I was fascinated by Taylor in this scene. It's so funny, right, that she's not trying to look impressive in front of Coil.
Yeah.
I really felt like she was channeling Brian a lot, right? Like, her contribution in the team meeting is, like, very cautious, very negative. You know, she's just like, we thought, well, okay, well, maybe we can work together, but I think it's going to be harder, and now there are worse consequences, and this could go wrong, right? And she is, like you were saying, right, unable to feel good about what she is doing, right? Genesis compliments her, and she's like, I couldn't bring myself to feel proud, right? It's like she's really, really...
It's that poison pill, the Dinah-shaped poison pill at the center of everything.
Yeah, but yeah, she's in such a dark place emotionally. I was also kind of thinking, like, Bitch is not happy to see her, but I almost wonder if Taylor will have an easier time spending time with someone who she knows, like, hates her than with a bunch of people who are like
kind of impressed with her.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. I mean, Bitch is a whole separate topic.
I did want to say the other person that Taylor was reminding me of in this chapter was Colin.
Oh, go on.
She thinks, oh my gosh, now that I have brought all these people together to please Coil, it makes me more vulnerable to Mannequin's attacks. Right? She's already moved on from, like in that moment, she isn't even able to acknowledge the part of her that wants to be a hero, bringing people together, saving people. She's just thinking purely like, oh my gosh, well, you know, I had to help these people because of my plan, right, to impress Coil. Like, that's the only reason I did it. And now they're this, like, weight that I have to carry.
It really is a bummer that, like, she's not able to enjoy the feeling of having done things well.
Yeah.
And I kind of identify with that a little bit. Like, when you're someone who's, like, driven forward by the need to do things well and, like, the fear that you won't, it's very hard to enjoy your laurels at all. And it's really sad that, like, in theory, once the Dinah thing is resolved, maybe she'll be able to feel comfortable with something. But, like, she has these strong needs to do all these things, but she can't feel good about any of them.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I was also meditating on, like, the way that she characterized the possibility of a plan B to Brian in the end of the last arc, right? She's framing it as, like, I know what I'm doing is untenable, but the only other option is impossible, right? Taking down Coil is impossible. And I feel like beating the Slaughterhouse Nine is also in that category of, like, actually, there is no way out of this scenario.
But I feel like if Taylor, in collaboration with all of her great Unraveler friends, is able to defeat the Slaughterhouse Nine, like, that will be such a level up for her. And I think it will put her in a position where beating Coil won't seem quite as unattainable. I mean, it will still be incredibly difficult, but Yeah.
Another Taylor thought that I liked was when she hears about the merchants, she's like, well, they all sucked. I'm glad they're dead. But that's 7 or 8 parahumans we can't use in fighting the Nine.
Yeah. She does like to wield other people.
But in this moment, I thought, I wonder if this is just what happens to capes. Because, should we have a little bit more sympathy for Battery? Being like, well, we need him.
Oh,
we need
yeah.
Madcap.
Yeah, because what the heck were you going to do with Skidmark? Like, were you going to be able to work with him?
No, right, but just this impulse of okay,
yeah, Vista's response too.
But
when you see how powerful capes are versus normal humans.
Yeah. The other thing, she had this very thematic statement where she's like, look, too much hinges on everyone else's willingness to cooperate and play by the rules. And the stuff that happened at the last meeting of the city's villains makes me skeptical.
Yeah.
It's like, she is somebody who is so anti-authority, but on top of that, she's adding this real cynicism about, people being able to, get along and kind of, work things out. And it feels like it's taking her to a pretty dark place emotionally.
Yeah. You said that she was being cautious, and that reminded you of Brian. I think that's also what we've seen from Taylor this whole time. I mean, it's hard to say because during the insinuation plot, she was also not fully representing her real self. So some of her caution was from not wanting to do villainy specifically. But she is a cautious person, and that's why she and Brian have gotten along so well the whole time.
That's interesting. I mean, you're right, but I feel like the difference between the insinuation thing and the Dinah thing is in the insinuation plot, she always had hope, and she would do sort of uncharacteristic things, like kind of take risks or be like, okay, well, yeah, we'll do this bank job. Oh, yeah, we'll go and attack this gala. And Brian would look at her like, wait, really? And she was like, well, I have hope. This is my way out, right? I see the path for me to turn them all in. She never fills in the details, right? But she had hope. And this, I feel like, she doesn't have hope. She doesn't see right now the
She doesn't
path
see
forward.
the way out. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that it's unlike her to be cautious and to want to have a plan. But I do get the sense from her here that she is just channeling a lot of negative emotion into saying, well, this won't work, nothing will work.
It does feel more like the her that Brian expected to see in previous chapters, where he's like, why are you moving so fast? This is unlike you.
Yeah.
And it's because she's sort of driven by this Dinah thing. Yeah. And when it comes to the Nine, it doesn't really have anything to do with Dinah, so she's more her normal self, perhaps.
That's interesting, yeah.
Which is cautious and analytical. And
yeah.
And I love the analysis she's doing. She's right that they have several very serious failure cases. The case where they win, Jack leaves town.
Yeah.
And then the world ends in 2 years.
Yeah.
The case where the Protectorate arrests all the Nine. Another great outcome for the immediate future, barring, Battery potentially messing everything up. Also a failure case because it means they can't kill Jack.
Yeah.
And then the world will end in 2 years. So they really have a very narrow definition of success. There's the whole Brockton Bay level of things and the we have 2 team members who are candidates and 3 if you count Noelle. There's that level of things where they need to win this game, but they can't just win it clean because of the world ending thing.
Yeah.
Really big problem.
Yeah, there's a lot all tied up in this.
Yeah. And it feels like Coil is playing a different game than everyone else.
Yeah, let's talk about Coil.
He is the one who was like, no, we'll put both my teams in a hotel to be protected for this entire Slaughterhouse Nine thing. Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. He is not invested in defeating the Slaughterhouse Nine. That is not his goal. I think maybe he just wants to spend other people's capes to do it. But he's, in this fight where they kind of need everyone, he's like, no, I'm going to hold Circus back. I just lost Trainwreck, so I'd rather not lose Circus. Yeah, she can stay here and guard me and Noelle, sure.
I was fascinated by how little he weighed in this scene. He loses his temper at Brian and Aisha. He says,
understandable.
enough.
Yeah.
He brings up, well, Hookwolf thinks we should just attack together. Right? Does he think that Hoku's proposal is good? Not
yeah,
good?
he doesn't say.
He just brings
that just
it
feels
up.
like a piece
right?
of information.
And then he's like, oh yeah, you were saying divide the teams. And then even when Lisa is like, I would like to stay back, Coil looks to Brian to approve that plan. As in, like, well, this is Undersider's business.
Right,
like, and you're the head of the Undersiders. So, like, is he checked out? Is he indifferent? Is he
just really mad at everyone for not going to hide in a hotel? And he's like, I guess I'll let them figure it out if they want to be involved.
Right. Is he, like, terrified because he doesn't have his Dinah back up right now?
That's true.
Like,
he is missing a limb.
He's just trying to get through this in a way that he doesn't have to worry about too much.
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to get a read on it. I do kind of like the idea he's just pissed off at all of them and is like, I'm just going to sit back and see if they can figure it out.
Yeah. I also liked Taylor's choice to sit as far away from Coil at the table as possible when she comes in. I mean, she is the last one there, but it feels very deliberate.
Yeah. While we're talking about plans, I'm pretty worried that Imp just went off to actually carry out her plan.
Ooh. Could be bad. Could be bad. What did you think of her plan? You agree with Brian and Taylor?
I think Taylor's point was a really good one, that they don't have reason to think Cherish won't be able to sense her. I wasn't totally sure about Taylor's thing where she's like, it seems like it's like sight and hearing based. I that wasn't a conclusion I'd come to. I'm not sure that I see the evidence. I haven't thought about it that much. But if that's true, then she's going to be in a lot of trouble with Cherish, and she is, like, in no way capable of taking on the Nine. She is so outclassed.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I worry she's going to do something stupid and going to need a rescue soon.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if something truly terrible happened to her, like she got killed or something at this, like, soon. That feels like it would be really out of left field in the story. But I think she could get into a really bad situation and then they might have to extract her.
Well, what did you make of Aisha as a character in this scene?
She's such a child. Like, she is noticeably less mature than the rest of them. Even, like, Taylor is only 15, but, like, sort of in the way of teenage characters everywhere. Like, she doesn't really seem like she's only 15 in terms of, like, her decision-making and stuff. And Aisha seems like a kid who's, like, young enough to still kind of be a brat. To still, like, have that sense of, like, well, it sucks that I can't help. Like, I'm gonna fight about it in front of our boss.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want me to use my power.
Yeah.
And I've been on the team longer than Skitter was when you guys robbed that bank.
Totally different scenario. I think she's not helped by having her brother in the room because that really brings out the little sibling in her. Yeah. I think that she would be a better teammate if Brian weren't in the picture. Mm-hmm. Because she would be kind of forced to, like, pretend to be more mature than she is.
Yeah,
act more professionally among,
I mean, that's very
strangers.
Sierra and Bryce, right? Lisa was like, no, we're going to separate you guys.
Very smart, Lisa. She feels like a loose cannon, but unfortunately a loose glass cannon that Brian is trying to protect, and we really don't want... We don't want, obviously, something to happen to Aisha, but we also don't want Brian to be thrown off in the way that he would be if something serious happened to Aisha.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's some real risk there.
Yeah. I will say, we, as podcasters, do not treat Aisha really like a co-equal member of the Undersiders.
No.
Right?
Well, we've hardly even seen her except, like, her interactions with Brian, really.
Yeah, it really is like, oh yeah, she's there. Which is very funny given her power. And
oh, wow, it's so true.
Love the moment in this scene when she uses her power.
Yes, that was great.
Taylor's just incapable of remembering. Like, we can go back a few paragraphs and see that she's there. Right. But Taylor's like, why is Brian standing up? What? That was a weird thing to do.
Lisa is there being like, oh, I just saw what happened. Okay, let me bring up my point about the cameras.
Yeah. She's looking pensive. And
if this were like, I don't know, some sort of interactive web novel situation. I mean, it is a web novel, but like if it were coded to be interactive, once you hit that point in the story where Aisha uses her power, if you looked back, those parts wouldn't be there anymore.
That would be so funny.
It would be so cool.
I love that. I mean, it's incredibly well done.
Oh, yeah. Really well-written moment. So speaking of Lisa, I kind of love her decision to hang back for her. Like, I think it's a really good choice. But I also hate it. Like, I hate that she has been cowed to this point, that she is so disheartened, because she is actually extremely effective in combat situations.
Yeah.
Like, she managed to save them from Glory Girl and Panacea at the bank job. Like, amazing work. The way that she is able to read people in real time and goad them, manipulate them, is such a combat strength. It does make sense that she doesn't want to put her body on the line when it's just been injured like this, but like, it says something. It's not like she couldn't add value on the front lines. Yeah. So it says something for how fragile she is feeling, how like traumatized she is by this, that she wants to take this different tack.
Yeah.
Maybe it says something about how afraid she is.
Right. I mean, it is kind of like her whole deal is standing across the room from somebody and saying mean stuff. And maybe she knows if she goes up against Jack again in person, she's not going to be able to help herself.
I mean, I want to see that, though.
Well, you want her to get the matching scar.
Well, no.
Right?
No. I don't want her to become the Joker.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this is a low point for her.
Yeah.
Or if it's more of like a new normal. It is a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder which way she's going to arc.
And we don't get much Lisa interiority. We see her putting on a strong face. She winks at Taylor. We get some really good characterization, right? Because it's a little bit like, oh, she's back and she's got a cool scar. But Taylor really goes into like, yeah, well, she's slurring when she talks. You know, obviously it's a disfiguring scar. There could be nerve damage. She has dry mouth. You know, like really getting enough of the details of it to feel like, oh, this is actually something that is going to take a long time to recover from, if she can, you know, make a full recovery. And it's like it has made it physically painful for her to talk, which is her whole thing.
That's her thing, yeah. It's not her only thing, but it's such a big thing. I mean, because she can know stuff and act on it without talking, but, like, that is such a big part of what she does. I feel like this scar is something she's going to grow into. Like, I feel like for, like, a 16-year-old or whatever she is, like, having this scar is a little bit at odds with, like, the image she had been presenting. Yeah. Is sort of this, like, goading, like, impish, I want to say, but, like, figure. And I feel like being, you know, kind of cute and young is like sort of part of the image she presented. But I feel like she's going to be such a badass, like, 35-year-old with this scar.
Yeah.
Isn't that going to be great?
Yeah.
Like, I think she's going to have to regrow into confidence with the scar. And I think that's probably going to take, I mean, hopefully we'll see a bunch of it in the story, but I feel like in a couple of years, she'll really wear it the way Vista is thinking about her scar, you know. Yeah. She's going to be someone who you look at her and go like, what has she seen? What has she done? And that sort of like almost tip of the iceberg sense of like, I'm only seeing this tiny part of her. Because I feel like Lisa before was like almost an enigma. And now she's an enigma with just a little glimpse of like the character of the enigma. And you're like, what?
Yeah, that's really
Who
interesting.
Is this?
That's really interesting.
What has she been through? Like, clearly she's lived lifetimes and
I know.
knows so much. And
well, I want this for her. That would be great.
Yes. I want her as like a wiry, like gray-haired 60-year-old, like sauntering around being like, I see you and I know everything about you.
Were there other unravelers you had specific thoughts about?
I have thoughts about why won't anyone say what's going on with Noelle? Is it just to torment us, the readers, who are extremely curious? Because, like...
I loved this whole sequence.
The Undersires are right that they can work better with Noelle. They can function better in this crisis if they understand what's going on with her. And what's going on with her must be so bad if even under those circumstances, Trickster still won't come out and say it.
Yeah, I love the detail, right? He's got very trickstery body language, like he's leaning back, his feet are up on the table, and then as Taylor is grilling him, he like hunches forward, he puts his head in his hands on the table, right? He's completely reversed, curled up, and he's like, all I'm gonna say is, if Siberian breaks her out, Noelle's going to be fine and we're all screwed.
We're all screwed. Like, the world is screwed? Like, what?
Yeah, and then, right, the rest of the travelers, right, seem to have pained expressions. Taylor's like fear, guilt, regret, but strong emotional pain she's reading on all of their faces.
Here's a thought. Because I'm wondering if there's a reason they don't want to say. Like, not just like, it's so awful, we don't want to say, like, or we promised her we wouldn't. But if it's like, either them saying would somehow increase the danger, like if more people knew it would be worse for them or increase some kind of risk, or if in fact the risk from Noelle is mostly or only to the other travelers, which would kind of explain why they're all so tightly bonded.
Yeah.
I don't know, just kind of a stray thought. Because it does seem weird that he won't say it.
Yeah.
It might just be for the narrative reason of, like, there's a more fun time for us to find out. But while we're on the Travelers, we saw Oliver again, no costume, still no idea what's going on. Does he have some sort of tattletale type situation where, like, he's a thinker on the... Well, she is. But the new situation she's going to have where she's maybe going to hang back, is that what he does? We haven't heard anything about that. Or is he connected somehow to... Was he on one of the teams?
No.
What the heck is his deal? Is he even a cape?
I don't know.
He's a member of the Travelers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dinah thought he was good looking.
It's mysterious. Also mysterious, Genesis.
Yeah.
Coil's people are bringing her body. I think she's got like a Sleeping Beauty thing going on.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Sleeping Beauty wasn't a dreamer, so I guess that's not really quite right. But just like, she is constantly asleep, and sometimes she dreams, and she's able to dream. Like right now, she's dreaming herself a teenage girl.
Yeah.
But it's really tiring somehow.
Yeah.
And then she has to just like let herself sleep without dreams.
The thing that was so funny to me...
Oh, no, wait. It said she was waking up, so she doesn't sleep all the time.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
That ruins that theory.
You do know that.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
The thing about Genesis in this chapter, I mean, she serves a great function of, like, being a normal person who can react to Skitterland the way a normal person would react. Like, oh my god, you're incredibly successful at this. But then when Taylor's like, yeah, so you've been, like, repairing buildings, you know, like, maybe you could help out. And she pats her stomach and is like, I've just been making some mortar. And then she walks away and, like, dissolves into the air. I was like, does she, like, can she turn into, like, a cement mixer monster? Like, what is her...
Yeah, like,
what was she implying?
It was illusions, what she does, but it's what she does is, like, solid. But is it solid in a way where, like, she can create stuff that lasts after she's gone?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, that reminds
me... What the heck is her power?
Well, that reminds me of what Labyrinth could do, right?
That's
she
right.
manifests those things, but when she had the statue pour water in, like, that was real water that stayed and put out fire.
From this other world.
Yeah.
Right, not illusions, but she can touch your mind and have you not be affected by it.
Yeah.
I love this space of, like, real but, like, mentally controlled. It's a fun middle ground that, like, it's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the remixed teams, right? The logic is good, and it's like Arc 5, it's great to have an excuse to have kind of different capes, you know, together for the purpose of an action scene, right?
Yeah.
Wildbow likes to change it up, and I always like it when things get changed up. But how do you feel? Do you have any reaction to the teams as presented?
So Taylor's team is basically the Undersiders minus Regent and Tattletale plus Genesis.
Correct.
Seems more offensively powerful.
I mean, Ballistic and Sundance are pretty...
Oh, seems more offensively powerful than they would be without Genesis, to be clear. Not as offensively powerful as Ballistic and Sundancer, who are sort of the bigger guns, who do have trouble using their power without hurting people, as we've discussed in the past. Yeah, so nice to have Genesis around. It's a weird time to not be with Lisa. And I actually wonder if there are going to be narrative effects of this, because I was wondering, Lisa doesn't know who the sixth person is.
Yeah.
Or, like, are we sure she doesn't? Does she have some reason to hide it? Or, like, I don't know. I was wondering if maybe she had secrets that
there was no clue
telling.
here.
Yeah, no.
But she did say, not Fault Line's crew, it's a hero.
I'm just surprised that she doesn't know. Maybe it's just her power doesn't have enough information to fill in.
Yeah.
Or she's been using it too much.
Yeah.
She did just have a major injury. Maybe is not quite operating at her full level. Though she didn't realize that Bitch was one of the candidates until just before the members of the Nine showed up. So probably she genuinely doesn't know. It just feels like the kind of thing her power should be able to figure out. I'm just wondering if there are secrets there. Or if it's just that we kind of don't get the emotional fallout of her injury, of Taylor leaving her during her injury and for, a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it will be fun. Like, it's just always fun to have it's fun to have a new person introduced. Like, we haven't really seen Genesis as a character at all. And it serves a purpose narratively to postpone the reunion of the Undersiders. Because, of course, we would love to see them operating as a group again.
Yeah.
And that might help heal or at least address, possibly exacerbate some of the tensions in the group, especially, Taylor and Bitch mostly.
Yeah.
But maybe, we are being denied that at this moment. It is not our core group.
Yeah. And it is so funny to me that people are so scared of Bitch that they're not asking her even basic questions about what her deal is. They're just sort of assuming, okay, well, she'll be angry, but she's part of the team, and we're going to keep...
It's such a misunderstanding of her.
Yeah.
They're sort of feeling like, okay, as long as we don't rile her up, it'll be okay. But they don't understand that her real problem is that, trust was broken. Yeah. And Bitch, doesn't see a way to rebuild it.
Yeah.
If Taylor knew that, I'm not sure she would see a way to rebuild it either, but, maybe she could at least have a stab at it.
Yeah.
But Taylor is treating this like a bad mood.
Yeah.
And that's not what it is at all. It is like a fundamental rift that needs active... it needs stitches, not just time.
Yeah. And it's another way in which Taylor's in a worse place than she was in the first book of the story, right? Because she was the one who was I'm going to build friendships. I'm going to figure out Bitch's deal and become her friend no matter what. And now she's obsessed with the Dinah situation and...
she's not paying attention to the Bitch thing.
Right, and she can't feel anything for this sort of oh, well, I should repair this friendship. That should be a priority because... Right, she's focused solely on this one thing.
I mean, the Nine is such a complication, it's such a distraction, and the fact that they have their own territories, as was obvious as soon as those territories were assigned, it does make it a lot harder to rebuild those relationships just because you don't have the time together.
Yeah. I really like the observation of sort of we're in a position of stretching out some of these tensions on the team rather than rushing for a quick resolution, which is fun because we have so many strong plot tensions going on. Right. It's fun to keep an eye on and we have these underlying character tensions that are also being developed.
Yeah, I mean, this book is so strong on both things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw Bitch, Taylor said, using the brunt of her power on Bastard, her new puppy, her new wolf.
And he's all pretty.
Streamlined.
Yeah.
The fact that she is using more of her power on him feels like a sign that she is leaning towards the Nine away from the Undersiders. And that is such a huge point of tension. I feel like we don't have that with Regent. There's the chance he would die, but not the chance he would choose to join, is my impression.
After the Cherish interlude, I just don't see it. Yeah.
But with Bitch, it does feel like that is sort of another side of that character tension. What is Mannequin going to do? Jumping a little. So Mannequin showed up to attack Skitter, was oh, there are a bunch of villains. Oh, also some tripwires. Bye!
I love that decision. It is so scary. My heart leapt into my throat when she's it took me less than a minute to find him.
There he is.
Right. And then I also love the decision, right? Well, I would be curious for your take. My take is that Mannequin is hoping to catch them with their pants down. He's look, they're not going to expect me to be coming right at them. I'm just going to go. It's possible he was just there doing recon. It's possible he was laying a trap. But I kind of think...
Right, because he didn't necessarily expect to be seen.
Exactly. I think he was going for some kind of attack. And then when he realizes that he's not going to be able to pull off a surprise attack, he retreats. Yeah. Because, because that's the rational thing to do, right? He, his bluff kind of got called, and he's yep, I'm out of here. I'll come back, with a different plan. Right. And that is, so scary to me, right? It's just sort of the, Taylor...
Oh, he's too smart to attack when it's not smart. Yeah.
She got there maybe with minutes to spare before finding Mannequin waiting for her in one of her buildings, before,
He killed a bunch of her people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's such a good point. Side note, but can you imagine, she has the spider silk, strung with ants.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining, being one of those ants on the line. Oh, did Skitter ask you to stay? Yeah, I have to stay here all day. I'm picturing those construction workers in that photograph of them, eating their lunch at the top of that, super tall building. That's the image I have of these ants being all right, still on the clock.
Well, then I also, Charlotte, walking through the territory and being okay, well, it's spiderweb. Yep, spiderweb.
Spiderweb strung with ants, sure.
She's like, oh, I hope I didn't mess up your spiderwebs. And she turns around and they've all been immediately reconstructed.
Oh my gosh, Skitterland is such a creepy place.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one party that I had at my parents' house years ago where it was June, and for some reason this had not happened before, this hasn't happened since, the caterpillars just went crazy that June.
Yes.
And the trees were just full of caterpillars dropping on silk.
Yes. So that's what Skitterland is like.
That's what Skitterland is like.
Yeah, and also just the mannequin thing, him showing up at the end of the chapter and then piecing out, it really does a great job with the narrative tension as well, being we're not going to get a break. This is already happening.
I don't know how they're going to do it. This is the kind of place where, I would read through the night to be how are they going to do it? How are they going to turn all the pages?
Yeah, I feel arcs 12, 13, this is a very common stay up all night place in Worm.
Oh, yeah, I bet. But I can't. I have to wait.
I know. You and our heroic read-alongers.
You guys are brave, like me.
Did you have any thoughts about the rules? My thoughts were it's so funny. I love games. I've played enough games to know these are not good rules. There's so much loosey-goosey. If they suffer a strong defeat, they'll be punished, and you'll get these bonuses for time, sort of to be decided later. Who decides? It feels very at the whim of Jack.
Oh, of course, very much. Which, of course, is what he would want.
Yeah. And then I love, because we have seen a lot of hometown pride from our villains, especially. So I love that now Brockton Bay has to defend itself.
It's its own team. Right.
Yes.
No one from the outside can help. I was surprised that Legend was in town. Good thing, I guess. I'm glad that the Protectorate has.
No, I know. Because I was I'm being too hard on the heroes, right? Actually, Legend and some other capes are here.
Great.
Right,
and his team,
help.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, finally.
We haven't seen them, but about time.
But yeah, and then you can't just run away, right? Brockton Bay has to, take a stand. Mm-hmm. I feel that's a really fun way to elevate things.
Right.
And of course, it does make it worse because it's not just our favorite characters will be destroyed, but whatever, the water supply or whatever they're planning to do. Right.
The stakes are so huge. It's any narrative where, an Avengers movie where it's if they lose, the world will be destroyed. And you're well, obviously the world won't be destroyed, so they're going to win, And Worm has absolutely not pulled its punches. The city was already destroyed several times.
I know.
There is actually this threat that the world is going to end. And, you could see it happening, though, I guess, probably after this narrative's over, because I don't think it's going to be 2 years long. But in this instance, the way it's been set up, I feel the consequences of it going wrong are so bad, and the city is already in such a bad state that that would just be too much to have happen in the narrative. So we can't go there. Please no, but also probably not.
Yeah. Oh my god.
You're giving me this look. I'm what does it mean?
I mean, it is.
You just look gleeful. It's fine.
No, but I think what it is it's a little bit the more the city gets beat up, the more I too have Brockton Bay hometown pride. I'm just the city deserves a win.
Absolutely.
Right. That's how I feel about it.
I'm also someone who feels strongly about tidying up when things get messy. I'm still when is the city going to be repaired?
Yeah, right. The water mains, right? Taylor was worried about sewage a couple arcs ago.
Gosh. I mean, speaking of shoes that haven't dropped yet, we still haven't learned anything about this threat to the water supply. Is that just something they're keeping in reserve? Is that something they can't do anymore because of the deal? I don't think there's anything in the rules that prohibit that.
It is an unrung bell. I mean, I don't think... We haven't learned anything since it came up the first time.
Yeah.
There was sort of a mention of, like, we need, incentives to keep the heroes in line or something. But yeah, again...
Now, this deal does provide incentives given...
Right, but Amy's in the wind, and as far as we know, Colin is still unconscious.
I know.
Right?
I don't know how this is going to work.
It's very strange.
Well, at least, like we said, he probably already passed Mannequin's tests, so...
Fair.
It's just Amy who needs to be tracked down.
I was wondering, like, when Brian comes up with the teams, he says, well, me, Imp, Bitch, and Skitter, if you guys can put your differences aside. And I feel like he's a little bit like, he needs to hang out with Aisha, because of course he has to. And he's like, well, and I guess I'll be the one to deal with Bitch, because she's such a problem. And then he's like, but then I deserve to have Skitter with me. Like I want Taylor too. Like, so...
That's a very Brian move.
It reminds me a little bit of his, thinking when he's like, well, Taylor can come sleep at my place, and you guys can sleep with the dogs because I'm so mad at Regent.
Very sound, yes.
He's like, this is another time where he's like, if I make my team suck enough for us emotionally, I can justify spending more time with Taylor.
Yeah, I don't have to feel guilty for taking Taylor if I'm taking Bitch, too.
Yeah. And Brian and Bitch were on a boat together coming back from the villain meetup when he was super pissed about how that went.
I do feel like I've gotten a lot of, like, some bug vibes from Brian's direction in recent chapters.
Yeah, it's not just me pushing it super hard. You feel like it's in the text.
I don't think so. No, I think, like, Taylor doesn't seem to be really thinking about it at all. Probably partially because she already got shot down, but partially because she has this other priority with the Dinah thing. But I feel like now that she doesn't care, and now that she's made her interest explicit, like, Brian's, like, starting to awaken to it, is my impression. I don't know if he knows that.
Interesting. I mean, we're going to be spending more time on that connection than, like, her one with Lisa.
Right, yeah.
At least for the next fight scene or whatever, right?
Yeah, who knows how long it'll go on, but yeah.
And I mean, we end this chapter, right, with Brian reassuring her, like, reaching out, hand on shoulder, really trying to be, there for her, right? Even though she is completely shut down
and she's like, unable to take this is going to be really rough. And she's right. I don't know how this is going to go. They only have one candidate with them. Noelle is sort of in a third group, just hanging out with Coil.
Yeah.
Regent is with the other group. Bitch is with this group. I guess Mannequin's gonna, like, try to get Bitch to alter her body permanently, which, like, I don't know that she would care about, but, like, also doesn't seem like something she'd be willing to let someone else tell her to do.
Yep.
And also, how is he even gonna show up and tell her to do that if, like, he and Skitter are, like, nemesis now?
Right. And, he also has to teach Skitter a lesson, and he has to test all the other candidates.
I don't know that he has to teach Skitter a lesson in the next 2 days, but maybe?
I feel like
was that kind of part
the
of
Nine were kind of pushing him to do that. I mean, who knows, right?
I don't think that was spelled out.
It's very wishy-washy. It's not in the rules, but I think it came up in their conversation. I mean, we got a good beat of Sundancer being like, well, should we just try to kill Jack? And then being like, yeah, but he's going to get tested last.
It's good that someone brought that up, because that is kind of the most important thing to do.
To your point, it's like reminding us that there are greater stakes as well.
Right.
Beyond
and
the
you
testing.
kind of got to close that. You kind of have to close that narrative loophole of, like, well, why don't they just kill Jack?
Yeah. I mean, Sundancer especially, like...
Right.
It's really just a question of how many other people is she willing to kill, and does she even know where Jack is?
Yeah.
Right.
Would Siberian kill her before she could get the sun to kill Jack?
What her range is. Yeah, absolutely. We got a little bit about, like, Shatterbird's power, and they're going to be getting cell phones and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah. That was sort of my question of would they be able to do that. Oh, I forgot we also have the issue of Hookwolf's people potentially challenging their territories.
Right.
They're going to do a patrol in about an hour, I think is what they said.
Right.
So we might find out more about what's going on in the broader area. And like you said, Skitter's power might be enhanced range-wise.
I think that's all I got. I'm excited to read more.
Yeah. I think I've already made a lot of predictions, so should we get the first sentence of the next chapter?
Aisha's not here, Gru informed us.
That's sort of a funny thing for him to say, because, like, you'd think they would also know already, but maybe they wouldn't because of her power. Did they expect her to be there? Did they tell her to come there? Like, she left before...
It's not that you forget that she exists entirely, right?
Oh, and also, potentially he's not saying, here's an important piece of information, Aisha's not here. He might be saying, Aisha's not here, therefore we should do X, Y, Z. There could be a second half that makes that a little less of a weird statement. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to get a lot of logistics of, like, where are they staying? How are they protecting the territory? How are they protecting the other territories?
Okay.
What are their countermeasures towards whatever the Nine is going to send them? I feel like we'll get a lot of that, and I think we'll get some sort of combat in this chapter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just mannequin, or is it something off the wall?
I mean, I kind of want it to be the Chosen.
Interesting.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I mean, why not both?
Why not both, indeed? Good question. You know what? I guess we'll find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.